Hi everyone, welcome back to Forging a Nation here in Iceland. You joined us quite a way into the season since I saw you after we lost to Fenerbahce. Believe it or not, we've actually got one game left in the league proper before we go into the split, and it looks like we are probably going to win the league before the split as well. But the big thing is you join us Champions League playoff. Massive chance of getting into the Champions League phase. We've got a decent foot in there after a really comfortable away leg win in the first leg. Quite a few transfers to talk about as well. Some coefficient stuff to touch on. The tactic, by the way, everyone, as we were saying last time, has really started to click now, and it's reaping some awesome rewards. Yeah, hi everybody, welcome to today's episode. I'm just going to kick things off with the schedule because, like I said, there's a lot to catch up on. I'm conscious of taking a load of time doing what I usually do and waffling away. So I'm going to try and just get through some of the admin in sort of quite a prompt manner. If I can get my words out, bloody hell. But before we do that, if you want to do us a massive favour, everyone, drop a like down below and leave a comment. How are you getting on in your saves? You know, I ask it every week. Just let me know how you're getting on, who are you managing, what's the aim of the series for you, what are you wanting to do. Just let me know. Let me know what you're doing on your saves. But yeah, straight into it. Fenerbahce, we lost 1-0, 83rd minute. Sickener, we know. We then exacted some revenge, unfortunately, through to Reykjavik with the victims of that. We beat them 8-0 in the final group game of the little pre-season cup. It was completely uncalled for. We were already through, but we thought, you know what, 8-0, let's have him. Rijkoff getting a hat-trick, 2 for Valdemarsen. We then drew 1-1 in normal time with Breithablik before putting 5 past them in extra time. A hat-trick for Swaj, 2 for Valdemarsen again, and Hannes Hjorlofsson also getting on the score sheet. And then we went and beat Hafnarfjörður 5-1. In the final. Again, another hat-trick, this time for Rijkoff, and again, another 2 for Valdemarsen. So very, very impressive stuff. And then the league got off to a slightly damp start, just a 1-0 away win, narrow, very late win, a late Rijkoff goal. Then we drew Greta 0-0. I'm thinking, oh, God, what's going on here now? We've been brilliant, and now it's sort of really starting to dry up and slow down. Before we then went and beat Akranes 4-0, Schwaj and Rijkoff, and then we beat Selfoss 6-1. I'm thinking this is more like it. Then we go and play Breithablik in the Community Shield, for want of a better word, and lose 2-0. It was against the run of play, from what I can recall. It's been a while. Well, I suppose, no, maybe I'm misremembering. We did have slightly more chances. XG, very little in it, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things. Possession-wise, also quite sort of more in our favour. But as you can see, bad day at the office for Swaj and Rijkoff. But then, suffice to say, 4-2 against our rivals, and that's purely felt like AKUREYRI. I think we actually went behind in this game as well before... Oh, no, we did actually take the lead. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But yeah, we did actually take the lead. It was 2-2 at one point, but then we managed to... oh, that was it. We went 2-0 up. It went 2-2, and then we put it to bed. As you can see, Schwaj and Rijkoff in amongst the goals again, and a hat-trick for Schwaj. That's going to be a theme, which we're going to touch on later. We then went and played poor IR at home, smashed them 10-1. 4 from Rijkoff, 2 from Schwaj, 2 from Schmidt. Yeah, poor IR. And then we beat Hafnarfjörður 3-0, first half hat-trick from Swaj. Then we beat Breitha 6-1, really getting one back on them for the Meistara Kepni Kala defeat. Again, 2 for Swaj, 1 for Valdemarsen, 2 for Matuk. Starnen 4-2, Valdemarsen hat-trick, Rijkoff scoring. That was it. This was the game we went 1-0 down. Instant reply from Rijkoff, and then just smashed them. We then beat AKUREYRI 7-1 in the third round of the cup. You'll notice that Johnston's starting to feature. He's our young Gibraltarian player. So we're starting to try and blood him in a little bit more. Then 7-1 against Akranes. 2 for Valdemarsen, 1 for Rijkoff. I have kind of Oh, no, I've skipped ahead a little bit, haven't I? Sorry, skipped ahead a little bit. Grindavik 1-0 draw. I think that's these two are the only times we've dropped points in the league. But yeah, 6-0 there, 3-1 there. 3-1 there. You can see all these. I'm not going to try and drag things out, as we said. 7-1 against Akranis. Selfos, 2-0. Then we start getting into, you know, the Champions League here. So we won the quarters against Aegir 4-1. Then we go to Progress Niederkorn from Luxembourg. Beat them 4-1 away from home. Rykov and Swaj. Unsurprisingly. 3-0 against the rivals. 2 for Valdemarsen. Then we beat Niederkorn 12-0 at home. 2 for Lerva. Trifonov. Valdemarsen with 4. Johnston and Rykov also scoring. Sailed through. No dramas whatsoever. 2-1 against Dayar. Rykov. Lerva. Then we go to Cluj, Romania. We play them at home. Beat them 6-1. Hat-trick from Swaj. Absolutely saw us through before we went and beat Hafnarfjord 4-1. We did then actually lose the away leg 3-1 to Cluj. 3-1 makes it look more nervy than it was. It was 2-0 up until the 92nd minute. We made it 2-1 and then they made it 3-1. I was more just annoyed from a coefficient point of view, if I'm being honest. I was just annoyed that we dropped the opportunity to pick up some extra coefficient points. But so what? You know what? It happens. We beat Breaker 2-1 in the league. Then we beat Sparta Prague, who we'd played twice before a couple of seasons ago in, I think it was the Europa League qualifiers, and we lost. And we beat them 6-1 in Prague before beating them 6-0 at home. 12-1 on aggregate. That was, in fact, I'm going to show you this one because there was some absolutely brilliant goals in this game. So yeah, we really put this game to bed nice and early on. You'll notice a couple of the new names who will touch on those signings soon, but you'll see Santiago Gallo, who we talked about last time, getting the assist there for Schwaj. 13 minutes, and that was his, something like, I think it was his 4th goal across the tie or something like that. And then another new signing, who again we'll touch on, Cabrera, this time laying on the assist and near post run again from Swaj. No issues at all. And at this point it's 8-1 on aggregate. And then 70th minute, bear in mind it's still 2-0 at this point. We just decided, you know what, we'll go mad. And we scored 4 goals in like 25 minutes. Swaj got his second hat-trick of the tie after putting... I think it was 4 goals past him in the first leg. And then this is a sumptuous goal from Gallo. Lovely little layback from Berg. And he just smashes it in top corner. I was like, oh my God. Unbelievable. And then he goes and scores another rocket. I think it's this one. It's either this goal or it was Abinho who scored the rocket. And then it's Gallo who scores another rocket as well. Again, Abinho might be one I've not told you about before either, actually. I can't remember. I don't know if we know about, if you guys know about him, so we'll touch on. And then Gallo, yeah, first time. Again, same one. Postage stamp in the top left corner. And yeah, 12-1. Absolutely destroyed them. And then this then set up a playoff tie against Malmö. So obviously a win here gets us into the Champions League phase. A loss in this tie dumps us out into the Europa League. And early goal from Swaj inside 13 minutes, swiftly followed by a penalty a couple of minutes later to put us 2-0 up. Yeah, they then got a goal back, I think it's at this point, to make it 2-1. I'm thinking, okay, well, you know what, let's just calm it down a little bit, just get to half time, no more goals conceded. But instead we go up the other end, and just before half time, we make it 3-1. And I'm thinking, bloody hell, this is brilliant. Like, we're just on fire at the moment. Like, absolutely killing it in Europe. I know it's the playoffs. I know we're not playing, like, you know, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Juventus, Bayern Munich, etc. But 3-1, I'm thinking, bloody hell, when's it gonna fall apart? And it didn't, because Bernberg made it 4-1 in the 60th minute. And then we went and got another goal about 10 minutes later. A lovely place finish by Cabrera to get him his first goal for the club. And it was 5-1 at this point. And things are looking brilliant. Malmö's captain then gets sent off for a second yellow card for a handball in the box before they do make it 5-2 with a I would say maybe a little bit of sloppiness on our part to allow it to happen. But 5-2 going into the home leg, I think we should be pretty much home and dry. Meanwhile, as for the other remaining Icelandic team in Breidablik, they have got a fantastic chance of getting to the Conference League league phase. 6-1 victory over 2 legs against Valletta. Beat Zoya. I'm pretty sure they're Ukrainian. What's that? 3-2. Then blew past Panathinaikos 6-1. And they've just beaten Adana Demirspor 3-0 away from home. So you fancy them to get that job done at home. Fabian Stegman, I'm just going to touch on him now while we're looking at him. We signed him from Altona 93 on he was a he was on a amateur contract type situation, month by month. So we just brought him in for nothing. And he's gone to Breidablik straight away, and he's really settled in quite nicely. As you can see, in the league, he's got 4 assists in 4 starts, and in the Conference League, he's got 4 goals in 1 start and 4 sub appearances. And he has really, I think, joined them at the right time to help see them through. And I think with that brings us nicely on to talk about transfers. So I'm pretty sure I already showed you him last time, but this is Santiago Gallo. He signed from Newell's for £1 million. And we've basically just been blooding him in really slowly. We've got him working as playing as we want him to eventually be a ball-winning midfielder, probably in this sort of 8 strata, really, but he can play other roles. But we are mainly using him as a ball-winning midfielder, as a sort of rotation option for Delanga, but he is probably going to end up being good enough to surpass him. But yeah, as you can see, decent numbers. 2 goals in the Champions League, 1 assist, 5 assists in the league. He's sort of featuring... he's only a breakthrough prospect. He's probably playing more like an impact sub-squad player at this stage. So, yeah, his development's coming on, excuse me, really, really nicely. Next up, we have Mikkel Bernberg, who we did reference a couple of times in that little run through there. He has been someone who's been weighing in with goals for us. He has basically displaced Lindstrom. Now, he is our main wide centre-back. We basically brought him in as a sub, as a rotation option before we realised, actually, is he maybe a little bit better on paper? And he's certainly given us that in his performances. He's been really, really good. His loan deal is expiring, but we've offered Copenhagen a new deal to keep him in on loan with an option to buy. Excuse me, which they have accepted. So hopefully that's going to go through, and we'll have him for hopefully the Champions League and not the Europa League. But as you can see, he's weighed in with some really nice numbers as well. Now it's time to touch in on, I think, the wonderfully named Abinho, really. I feel like it's just one of those sort of Brazilian things where you can just give someone a name and just add yo on the end, and it just, there you go, you're done. 23-year-old, came in on a free from Amarante. He was like a non-contract player, able to approach to sign. Coming in as a squad player, which I think is fantastic. He's on decent wages, don't get me wrong, a decent chunk of wages, but he's technically brilliant. So we've been playing him in that Mazzala role. You can see he's not actually started a huge amount of games for us, but he's certainly chipped in when he has done so. He's someone who could probably eventually move out into the loan farm, or he could sort of replace Matuk if Matuk leaves, that sort of thing. He's someone who can be an incredibly useful player for this save, for us, for other clubs in Iceland, and where that use to us might not necessarily just be in performances, but might actually be in terms of income. Now we move on to one of our lucky sort of recruitment focus finds, I would guess. And this is Narcisse Kone, coming in from ASEC Mimosas in the Côte d'Ivoire. Came up, we thought he looked really good, 240,000. And we initially thought we'll use him in midfield as a ball-winning midfielder, but then with a few departures, I actually thought, hang on, he could be a perfectly good ball-playing defender. So what we've actually done is we've swapped the tactics. So this is no longer a central defender stopper. This is a ball-playing defender stopper, and it's going to be Kone, we think, who's basically going to fill that role. Now, we mentioned Lucky Matlu a couple of episodes ago, but I just wanted to show you how his development's been with our under-19 since he's been with us. He's come on fantastically well. Part of an under-19 team who won the league, again, the under-19s league. He is either going to start playing for us in the first team next year, or we're going to loan him out for a development move. I think he's probably good enough to play in our first team. He's definitely better than Ragnarsson. The only issue we have is whether he's going to still count as foreign or not. That's the only issue. I don't know if we'll be able to get away with it because he joined us, I think, we agreed the deal when he was 17. So it's whether we can count him as homegrown eventually. He might be able to do that in a year or two. He might not count as a foreign player. I don't know. We're just going to have to see what happens with his registration. But definitely be good enough for us at this stage, at the age of, 18, 19. Definitely good enough to go and do a job for like a Braither or someone like that. Out in the division as well. And another signing, Wilfred Capre, another ASEC Mimosas signing. Someone who I looked at, but then... And Al Ittihad, I don't think it is the Al Ittihad, it was just someone called Al Ittihad. I'm not sure what division they were in. They might have been in like Saudi second division or something like that. Bid for him, I just dismissed him. I thought, well, he's obviously going to go there. And then, long story short, we ended up needing to look for another centre-half. Again, we'll touch on that soon. And I noticed that he was still at ASEC Mimosas, and we were able to bring him in for 300,000. And yeah, really, really happy with him. We play him as a wide centre-back. He's good. He playing the wide centre back on defence. So far, so good. He seems pretty solid. He's slightly better technically than Perez as well. But again, we'll come on to that in a minute. So this is one of the other signings we touched on, who you'll notice did score against Malmo. And this is Rodrigo Cabrera. Left wing back. Very, very good technically. A little bit older profile than we have been going for. But we were able to bring him in on a free. Reasonable wages. Happy to be a fringe player as well. Definitely better than Ragnarsson on paper, I would say, across the board. Slightly low determination, but we've just basically brought him in just to be a little bit of extra quality for us in some of these big games. Basically, it was kind of pushed by Siggy Jensen. You know, we knew we were losing him. We thought, we've only really got Ragnarsson. We need to get someone in, really. We weren't sure whether Matt Lou was going to be ready or not yet, so we went with Cabrera. And then our last signing was another free signing, Isaiah Akagni. Coming in on a free transfer. So we'd actually brought him in on trial after his contract at Inter expired. And we were thinking, well, it was a bit slow getting the data through. And we were like, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But then we got into like the second round of the Champions League qualifiers. And Kipre, Kone and Bernberg were all away at the Olympics. So our 3 first choice centre-halves were just gone. And we're thinking, crap, we're really short here, because it was basically Lindstrom, Gislason and Siggy Jensen, I think, were maybe the only players we had who could play centre-half. Again, you'll find out where some of the players had gone. And then I looked at him again, I was like, oh, thank God we got the rest of his report. So I was like, Flippinaki looks really good. He's 2-footed, 6'2", decent technical stats, just get in the door, mate. Happy to come in as a fringe player, reasonable wages for us now. And you know what? He's smashed it since he's come in. He's played quite a lot of games, really good average match rating. Really been happy with him. He was basically brought in as a short-term stopgap, but he could definitely be a useful player to us, and he'll definitely be great if we can get him out to the loan farm. And now we come into our out. So I think we'd already touched on Nunez and Tomei and Christopherson. Then we loaned out Gunnarsson out to second-tier side. Kolbeinn Gunnarsson went out on loan to Akranes, and he's done really, really well for them. A few other loan deals. Christiansen we touched on. He ended up going to Kongsvinger, who I think Norway, for 50,000. Yeah, I remember us talking about him actually. Isaacson did end up leaving as well. I can't remember if I told you about him. He went to Elfsborg in Sweden. I'm sure it's Sweden. Yeah, Sweden. Yeah, we basically just felt like we'd moved past him. We weren't using a tactic which would utilize his abilities, and he was definitely nowhere near good enough to be in our squad anymore, unfortunately for him. So he left. Oscar Vargas was an interesting one. Consistency issues we knew about. Although you'll notice some of the faces have changed. I updated the face pack because it'd been a couple of years since I'd updated some of them. So I thought, well, you know what, let's try and capitalize on any changes in their new gen face appearances that the game generates and see what the sort of AI new gen mid journey one does with it. So yeah, we ended up selling him to Chicago Fire because he wasn't convinced about renewing his contract at all. And he ended up going to Chicago Fire for 250,000 when we bought him for like 50. So really good profit on him. And I didn't think he was really going to get any better. Lamine Sanyang moved to Greta on a free. We touched on him as well. We didn't really see him having much of a future at the club anymore. A free was a bit of a kick in the teeth, but you know what? it got his wages off the books. Khalid Saeed and Gonzalo Gonzalez, we touched on. Hrafn Kjartansson, again, someone we thought he came in, he was good when he came in from Breither, and then we realised that actually De Lange, when we brought him in, De Lange was far better, and he had really sort of bottomed out in terms of sort of his mentality issues with regards to his big matches and his low self-belief and his determination. But he also went to Goethe, where he's done okay, but yeah, he's just it was just someone to get out the door. We got a little bit of money for him. As I said, we signed him for free. These are the two big departures. Sebastian Perez. So when there was rumours about Saudi clubs being in for him, he was like, yeah, I want to go there. As soon as the bids started coming in, he was like, you got to let me go. I'm not staying. We managed to get 1.5 mil for him, which we bought him for $1 million. I'm kind of happy with that, really. I think we do have a percentage of sale as well. When you look at that, he's like, his value is now 19.5 to 2.8 mil. So if he leaves in the future, I'm sure we negotiated that in. So that would be quite nice. Hjorlofsson, again, a couple of Saudi clubs bid for him. He was interested in the move, but he wasn't 100%. But technically wise, I knew he wasn't quite there anymore compared to some of the players that we were starting to get through. I think he had like a year left on his deal or 18 months left on his deal at this point. He cost us nothing when we brought him in. So I was like, excuse me, you know what? You've given us a lot, but I think it's time we go our separate ways. So he went to Al Fateh, and yeah, good luck to him, I would say. Frederick Pedersen, I think we touched on last time, and Stegman we've mentioned, and Adelson Almeida ended up loaning him out. I was having issues with registration, and I thought, you know what, Akranis bid for him on a loan bid with an option to buy, but he wasn't really interested in going. So I was like, that's fine, you can just stay. I could do with you being backup anyway. And then it said, like, you know, in his happiness, it was like, oh, not happy about, or, you know, not being allowed to pursue a move to Akranis. It wasn't like an issue he brought to me, but it was like, oh, you know, would have liked to talk to Akranis to see what they had to offer. So I just offered him out for loan because, like I said, I was struggling registration-wise. And he's gone to Trelleborg in Sweden. Not doing particularly brilliantly so far, but he's getting some consistent game time, so it might hopefully help his development. So I think that's it for that admin side of things. One last thing to touch on. We are smashing it coefficients-wise. We're on a 4-point season so far. This is due to see us go up to 26, I think. You might think, well, yeah, sure, if you can get to the Europa League, you'll get more points. But at this point, I'm really happy with where we're at. And I think the Champions League money and the reputation we're going to get from that is going to be, at this point, so much more useful to us than any more coefficient points, potentially. I feel like for this season, we've already done really, really well. So I think if we can get to the Champions League, get some real bumper cash from that, I think that would be incredible for us. We've already had a brilliant season coefficients-wise, and anything else we can get from that is a bonus, really. So it is time to pick our team. Now, we've not got Schmidt. He is unfortunately injured. He's had a very injury-plagued season. And it's time to bring in the big boys. So I'm not going to do what I've done previously in the Champions League with these games when we've kind of had a decent advantage in terms of aggregate score. I've basically just sort of rotated, ended up playing some youngsters, like played Johnson and stuff like that. We will probably see him today, but I want to just get the job done. So I want to try and get a couple of early goals to see us through and go from there, really. So actually, I will leave Ricagni in, actually, because he deserves a shot. But we're going to go with Cabrera. I think we'll leave Alvarez in, and Lerva and De Lange and Rykov and Schwarz. They can all play. In fact, we'll go with Zabala. So Zabala actually was wanted by some big clubs in the summer. He wanted to move to Man United, I think. It was either Man United or Liverpool. So when the other club, Man United or Liverpool, bid, and I think Newcastle bid as well, and maybe Arsenal, he actually wasn't that bothered. He was like, meh, would rather go and play for Liverpool/Man United. So we didn't actually stress about it too much. We didn't. We would have looked to sell him if he'd have moaned, basically, but he didn't when we rejected the bid. So it's like, fine, you can stay then if that's all right. And yeah, he stayed, and he's done really, really well. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more money for him next time the club starts sniffing. But yeah, he's been brilliant performance-wise. He's been really happy to stay with us, And yeah, he's paid us back. And then some, really. In terms of like overall performances, though, our strikers have been incredible. Like Valdemarson has basically been playing second fiddle to Rykov and Schwarz all season, but he's still got like 27 goals or something like that. I'll show you all the stats after this, but it's been fantastic. Oh, let's up the highlight speed. Honestly, it's been brilliant. Like Schwarz is like Thor's all-time leading goal scorer now. He hit that record this season. He is comfortably the leading goal scorer in the Champions League with something like 16 goals or something like that. In what, like 7 games? Interestingly enough, on that one, actually, Lerva finished as the Europa League's top assist provider last season. What a save from Valson. Bear in mind, we played 4 games in the Europa League. 4 games, and he got 6 assists in 2 starts and 2 sub appearances. And he was the top assist provider for the Europa League all season with those 4 assists, which was incredible. And Malmö started a little bit better than I was sort of hoping they would. I don't know. That's a foul. Rykov bought that really, really nicely. And yeah, but Schwarz is on fire this season. Playing him as a poacher is just working wonders. He just gets in those positions and just scores. Rykov does a lot of the work. Great at laying on chances. Yeah, it's been brilliant. And then Zabala whipping in crosses in that attacking wing back role. Why is it going so laggy? But oh, come on, guys. Thank you, Alvarez. We are going to have to make a decision about our number 10s because we've got Lerva, Schmidt, and Martuk. Now, Martuk can play in the Mezzala role. Lerva is arguably our better number 10 outside of him and Schmidt. Even though on paper there doesn't look like there's a huge amount in there, but Lerva just seems to just deliver a lot more reliably, and this is going to be a goal. And why is it so glitchy? It's really annoying me. Why it's lagging so much. Let me just see if I can make sure there's nothing else running on my laptop which is potentially slowing things down. But even that's being slow. I did try and do a load of sorting out on it the other day, but that makes it 5-3 on aggregate, which I don't. Sorry, I'm just a bit. Let's see if we'll see what happens, everyone. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we can't lose this game. Even if we lose at 1-0, we can't lose because we need the coefficient points. Possibly running a little bit better, and he says as it goes on lags. Yeah, Lerva, I think, is going to be the main guy. He's younger than Schmidt as well. It's just what we do with Schmidt is the issue. We could probably sell him. He probably wouldn't be that bothered if we offered him out. He's not. I think he's going to be too good for a loan farm in regards to the fact that I think his rep will put clubs off from trying to bring him in. Unfortunately, because he's going to be like a 3.5 star, and I'd be amazed if someone like Braither would want to bring him in because I think they might think he will just knock him back. I don't know. He's had a lot of injury issues this year though. He basically wanted more game time, which was a bit stupid because he had been injured. We brought him in, played him a bit, he got injured. And then he was out for maybe like 4 weeks. We brought him back once he was ready and he got injured again in the same game, calf strain, and is out for like 5 weeks. So I don't know whether he's going to end up being one of these players who's going to get injury prone and we're going to miss out on value for him because he's not going to be able to play as well and he's going to hamper his sort of progress. So don't know whether we potentially... Yes! What a ball from Zabala and what an emphatic finish from Rykov. That puts my mind at ease a little bit. So yeah, I don't know whether we potentially look to sell him and before his value tanks anymore. I will obviously offer him out on loan and see if any Icelandic clubs want to take him. because he'll be brilliant. He's a very good player, and he will be really. He has the potential to be a really, really good player for a lot of teams, and he's been good for us. He just doesn't do it often enough, and I think it's just because he is in and out injury wise. And it's 2-1. It's Wilfred Kipre with his first goal for the club from a Lerva corner, and yeah, inside 3 minutes we've turned the game around 2-1, and it's now 7-3 on aggregate. And you'd have to say, barring a miracle from Malmö, we should be absolutely fine. So yeah, I'll see what happens with him. But obviously we've got Alvarez and we've got Abinho and we've got Matuk, who can also play number 10, but they also can play more of an 8, which we have been doing with them. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to make a decision on him before he sort of gets unhappy, and I would be inclined to try and sell him rather than loan him out, just because it's a really good bit of money for the club if we can get it. He's sort of too good to potentially not make any money off. Like, we signed him for like 75k, and we're, as we were saying last time, we got a little bit carried away. The club's not financially stable enough yet, I don't think, to really just afford to loan out good players consistently. You know, we're basically currently signing players who would be squad rotation options for us and loaning them out. Basically, we're identifying players who are good, who could play a role for us, but ultimately with the view to loan. We're not signing like elite players for us to then loan out to someone else, if you know what I mean, because we can't afford to do that, and also it's probably not going to work out yet because of reputation, etc., etc. So yeah, I think we need to get the club in a bit more of a financially stable position before we start loaning out really high value players. And 2-1, I'm going to take Rykov off because he's looking a bit tired, and don't want him to get injured. Maybe not just now, but we'll do that in maybe sort of about 10 minutes. We'll probably bring on like Valdemarson or someone like that. An uncharacteristically quiet game so far for Schwarz by the looks of things. I wouldn't expect that to continue. It is one of those, the typical press conference comment. He's irrepressible. I imagine he'll pop up with something, and that is literally the case for Schwarz. I imagine he will pop up with a goal at some point or an assist. He is very, very hard to keep quiet. And at this point, we're going to take off Rykov. Where's Gudmundur? He can come on. And we'll take off Cabrera for Ragnarsson. And we'll do that and see. That's a brilliant save from Paulson. What a save, man. Well done, mate. I think one of the areas we will be looking to improve eventually is a keeper. But Valson, to be fair to him, has been brilliant. I just think he has his limitations. So, put it that way. And for me, the main priority in this game now is just to get that win for those points. We are going to see Santiago Gallo. We are going to see Matuk. This is basically what we do with this. He was 2-star forward in midfield. He's now 2.5. And Matuk is also becoming more efficient at playing in the or more accomplished, at playing in the Mezzala. Looks like Schwarz may actually end up potentially having a very, very non-productive game. Because how many subs we made? 4. Then we'll take him off or Lerva. Or Zabala. The way the camera moved then, I was like, that was an important challenge. But the way the camera moved, I was worried. I was thinking, is the ref actually going to have a pen now? You know, sometimes it happens where, you know, Schwarz, go ahead, lad. And there's Zabala. Plays it into Matuk. Oh, pings around a little bit. Okay, I think we go Trifonov, actually. Go Trifonov for Zabala. Trifonov has been much less prolific in terms of his goal output playing as a wing back compared to when he was playing as a winger, unsurprisingly. But it's been working wonders for Zabala. He's on like I say, something like 15 assists or something ludicrous. We have broken quite a few records this season. We've won 10 league games in a row, which is a new league record. We've broken the record for like most number of longest unbeaten streak. It's something like 30 games or something now. And also one thing I forgot to show you, we got a message before the first Malmö game where it was saying, back off, Patrick Wallen. We actually looked at him, signing him like a couple of seasons ago, I think. Come on, let's get the win. Don't miss out on these points, guys. What was I saying? It's gone. It'll come back to me in a minute, but it's completely gone out of my head. Oh yeah. For the first Malmö game, we got a message saying, Fredrik are on course to break the record for the number of goals in a Champions League campaign. The current record is Barcelona with 40 goals. We were on 35. I was thinking, we put 35 goals away in, 6 games? I was like, that's ridiculous. And that's like, that's a record. That's potentially going to be a record. We then scored 5 in that Malmö first leg, which put us onto 40. And so now we've broken the record for most goals in a Champions League as well. So as annoying as it is to not get the full whack of the points, we're going into the Champions League phase, everyone. Champions League proper, in absolutely unreal form against some of these sort of slightly lower teams. Let's see, are we going to get that little record? 12.69 million. Wow. Decent chunk of money. Go on. Salzburg, Sociedad, City, Braga, Roma, United, Marseille, and Lech Poznan. No, we played Marseille before, and we think we lost to them 2-1. So who knows? We might be able to do something. City at home is huge. Roma at home is also huge. 2 tough away games first, those Salzburg and Sociedad. That's going to be hard, those two. But, hey everyone, let's just enjoy the ride. What that means, everyone, is we're on course for 5.15 points minimum now. Which is going to see us, as we said, go up to, 26th. But scope to get more points now as well. And lastly, while they may have lost on the night, Breither go through 3-1 on aggregate against the Dana Dermaspor, which means that they are going into the Conference League. So we've got, another 14 games for Icelandic clubs. We don't know who they're going to get yet, but means, yeah, that's fantastic. So many points on offer now for the coefficient. That's incredible. Let's see. Can we see who they're gonna have to play? Schedule. Let's see. So they're gonna have Tirana, IMT. Bloody hell, where did they come from? Batumi, Tiraspol, Sarajevo, and there'll be someone else they'll be playing next season. We just can't see it yet. Actually, hang on. How many games? No, that is 5 games. Yes, we just can't see who their last game is against. I reckon they've got a chance of potentially picking up some points there. But you know what? They've got there, and that's all that matters really to us now. They're there. We've got 8 games to play. They've got 6 games to play. Chance to pick up some points. Chance to boost rep. Get some money in for both clubs. Fantastic stuff. Youth intake is looking absolutely awful once again. Really disappointing. Don't know what we're going to do. We think we just got to keep hammering, trying to build up the youth facilities as best as possible. That's all we can do, really. Well, everyone, it's been a very long episode. I feel it has anyway. So with that in mind, I'm going to wrap it up there after that successful end to the episode with both Icelandic clubs, Breiðablik and us, getting through the next stages of their respective competitions, the league phases. So you will next see me when we're in the Champions League phase. I don't know who it's going to be against. Maybe either Salzburg or Sociedad, the debut in the league phase. yeah, I may well do that one. We'll see. I'll just have to see. I'll just have to see how it's going. But yeah, fantastic. Cannot wait to see what benefits this is going to bring to the club. And yeah, hope you have enjoyed this, everyone. I certainly have. I'll see you all really, really soon. I hope you don't mind the gap as well. Since I last saw you, obviously it's been what, like 7 game months. Obviously we've not really seen you before now. There was a lot to catch up on, but as we said last time, I'm just the league is just going to be streamlined now as best as possible. We're going to focus on Europe because that's where the bread and butter of this series is going to be now. That's where we're going to get our biggest sort of rewards, really, in terms of this save. At the end of the day, the whole point of this save is to bring the Icelandic levels, like the competition levels, up to the top. And the only way we can do that is through Europe. So that's going to be the main focus going forward. And yeah, and I apologize that I have been a little bit slow. I've gone from sort of getting a video out every sort of 4 to 5 days to sort of almost every week. I've been working on a couple of other big sort of one-off videos. The first one should be coming out in the next it'll either be coming out in the next couple of days or it will have already come out before this video comes out. I'm not sure on the scheduling. It just depends on when I can get stuff edited and put out. These videos are typically easier to edit because it's just a nice linear thing. The one I've got in mind is a bit sort of jump aroundy, sort of, you know, here and there. So it might take a little bit longer to piece that one together. But yeah, I hope that's okay with everyone. I am sorry, but I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye for now.